Hello and welcome to Crucible of Worlds for more dedicated legacy action. Today we are playing a deck that I love, which is Monowhite Painter. This is the Stoneforge build, which I've been working on for a little while. It's a bit different from the sort of usual Ingenious Smith ones. I played this on my channel a bunch before, so I'll just quickly go over what we're doing here. So we're trying to assemble Painted Servant and Grindstone. The combination of these two cards allows the Grindstone to mill out your opponent's entire deck because it's all going to be the same colour. Now, to build around this, we've got Urza Saga, which can find the Grindstones, as well as a bunch of other tools we'll talk about in a minute. And then we have an Oswald Fiddlebender that can also find either half of the combo, as well as some other bits we'll talk about in a bit as well. So we've got some relatively ordinary stuff in here in terms of Mother of Runes and Esper Sentinel, just good mono-white cards that give us a bit of taxing on our opponent. They also give us a way of getting around removal, making sure our combo sticks. So there's pretty useful tools here. We've also got 4 Wastelands, so we've got a little bit of Death and Taxes type stuff, but we kind of part ways a little bit there, aside from the Stoneforge Mystic. So this build has got 4 Stoneforge Mystic. We have 2 equipment here to find. So we've got ourselves a Batterskull and a Kaldra Compleat. Both of these are living weapons, which leads us into the next card in the deck, which is Staff of the Storyteller. It draws us cards. It's a pretty great card draw, and being in white is excellent. So our living weapons will put counters on this. Our Urza Saga will put counters on this. And our Retrofitter Foundry will also put counters on this. We've also got some Ethersworn Canonist, just as a really good guy. Most of our spells are going to be artifacts, so we're going to be able to play normally under this, and our opponent isn't. It's going to shut down decks like Elves and Storm relatively well. And it's going to make cantrip decks have to choose between cantripping or deploying something, so they can't look for the answer and then immediately deploy it. So that's going to be pretty good for us. We've got a bunch of little tools we just talk about. Pithing Needle, I really like Pithing Needles in Urza Saga packages. It's just very flexible and does a lot. We also have a Soulguide Lantern because we may as well have some graveyard hate, and this one cantrips. And that's pretty much it apart from that and the Grindstones and the Retrofitters we already talked about. We have 1 portable hole. This can't be found with Urza Saga, but we can find it with Oswald Fiddlebender. Then we have another tool for Oswald Fiddlebender in Crucible of Worlds. Unsurprisingly, I really like this card, but it's incredibly powerful with Urza Saga and Wasteland, and it's not too shabby with the Horizon Canopy either. We've got a whole bunch of planes. I think we've got 9 planes in this list. So we're pretty good at dodging Blood Moon effects, because obviously Blood Moon is pretty bad for our Urza Saga plan, so we want to be able to play around that way. And we're trying to do a combo that requires us to have 3 mana to tap, and we're normally going to want to deploy one of our things and tap at the same turn, so that's 4 or 5 mana. So having a load of basics so we can safely develop our mana is important. It means we only have to run 3 Ancient Dens here. Obviously these are great because we can fiddle bend them into things, but you don't want too many, because sometimes if you draw them post board, your opponent's definitely going to have Meltdown if it's in their sideboard. They're going to be boarding that in, and you want to be able to stop it. We have 1 Eiganjo, which rarely comes up, to be honest, and maybe it should be something else, but that's one of the things we're looking at today. We've got a couple of Karakas. These are just great, and they work especially well with things like Loran in our sideboard. So, sideboard-wise, we've got 3 cards for Storm. We're going to be using these to slow them down. We've got 4 pieces of removal, because we're pretty shy on removal in the main deck, so this is hopefully going to plug those holes when we need it. 3 Containment Priests, great for Reanimator, great for Elves, great for Natural Order decks, great for Sneak and Show. Just an awesome card for what we're trying to do, and it's not an artifact, importantly, so we should be able to do quite a lot with it. We've got 3 March of Otherworldly Light as our sort of catch-all answer. The reason I like this card is because it blows up Urza Saga, so it just helps us really bury the fair games, but it's also flexible. It can hit all sorts of things, so big fan of this one. And we have 1 Grafdigger's Cage, which can be found off of the Saga, and it's going to stop things like Natural Order and Reanimator, etc, etc. So we don't have, like, the best spread of things against Reanimator. We do have some stuff for it, but I think unless you want to dedicate 4 slots to Leyline, it's going to be hard against Reanimator for a lot of decks anyway. So we may as well sort of lean into that a little bit and have stuff like the Containment Priest, which is much better in the Sneak and Show matchups and stuff, which are ones that we want to, that we have a more realistic chance of winning if we lose the die roll, as opposed to Reanimator, where if we lose a die roll for the first game, it's going to be tough to come back from that anyway. But I've beaten Reanimator with this deck quite a lot of times anyway, so we do still have the tools. Alright, before we jump into a league, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps with the algorithms, and subscribing and commenting is nice too. If you want to support me financially, you can drop me a couple of quid on the Patreon that's linked below, or you can become a member of the YouTube channel, or you can contact me through the Discord link for a donation deck and let me play what you want me to play. Alright, let's play some Oswald Grindstoneforge type deck thing. Yeah. Haven't quite worked out the name for this one, right? Oswald Tells a Story was the last one I had. Anyway, enough of that. Let's play some Legacy. This hand is a great hand. We've got a lovely curve here. We're going to keep this one. So we can Sentinel into Stoneforge or Staff, depending on what we're looking to do. When we get an idea of what our opponent's playing, that might give us better information as to which one of our things we want to deploy, whether it's the Stoneforge or the Staff. The Painter is an option, but I don't think... Alright, so a little blue card there. I think I want to deploy the Stoneforge Mystic. I'd rather deploy the... Because if this resolves, we get the value. But if Stuff and Storyteller resolves, they can blow it up before we get the value, if they're like a Prismatic Ending deck. So I'd rather play the Staff with the white mana up. Right, so we're getting a Dismember on our Esper Sentinel, which draws us a card. Okay. Do we have a Stoneforge Mystic? A Daze, sure. Interesting plays. Dismember is an unusual one to see alongside a Volcanic Island. Alright, so we're looking at some sort of rug pile. Okay, that's fine. I think we'll jam our Wasteland here and deploy the Staff, leaving up a white mana. So we can pay around a Daze and we can also draw a card. This might end up just being a Hymn to Turak, in which case it's a shame that we didn't leave our Wasteland up. Force of Will, pitching Spell Pierce. Okay. So this is more like an old school looking rug build with Spell Pierces and things. I can appreciate that. Is this going to flip? Did not flip. Okay, so our opponent's got a land or a creature in hand, most likely. A Brainstorm. So it's going to flip next turn. So they got Volcanic Island that we know about. Oh, they've taken the Wasteland. They're going to Wasteland our Wasteland. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if we can put them in the dirt with a Crucible lock, Wasteland lock. Which is very much how I like to play Magic. I think this is worth doing now. We've got another Daze. Alright, so they got one. If they can jam a Murktide this turn, that's going to be pretty awkward for us. We don't really have a lot of good ways of answering Murktide. Right, so they're keeping that Volcanic Island hidden for now. This is going to be a Tarmogoyf, I think. Petty Theft. Alright. And then they're going to bash us for a little bit. Right, let's just deploy the combo. I don't think we have to worry about Snuff Out. I'm going to name black just in case. I think it's more or less free here. Okay. The other thing we could do is name white and represent something like a Solitude. So our opponent needs to find a removal spell for our Painter or our Grindstone here. Otherwise, we've got them dead. Okay, so they're going fishing with a Brainstorm. We've expended all of our opponent's resources on our Sentinel, our Staff, our Mystic. So in theory, they shouldn't have that much left in the tank for our guy. They also need a red source, most likely, to cast a removal spell like a Lightning Bolt or something. A Wasteland. They can try and take us off mana and see if we can brick on a land. The one way we could get punished actually for naming black here is if our opponent has a Veil of Summer. Right? Okay. They do not have a Veil of Summer. So if we draw a land, we win the game. We did not draw a land. Interesting. We'll play this. We can get a Batterskull with it. A Daze. Okay. Am I attacking here? I guess if it doesn't flip, that's quite unlikely because I've just cast a Brainstorm. I don't think we're going to win this game on damage, so I'm going to hold it back. So if we hit land on the next turn, then we're okay. They know what this card is from the Brainstorm. I assume they're attacking with just the 3-2. Yeah. Just looking for a mana source. Tarmogoyf. Sure. We're running out of road here. A Wasteland. Alright. Goodbye, opponent's library. They're going to show us their library, or are they going to scoop? Right, they're scooping so we don't get to see their library. Okay, we navigated that one all right in the end. So, I like Source of Plowshares in this matchup. Then what? March of the Woolly Light has some useful text on it as well. What am I not interested in? I think Oswald as a 4-of is something that we can trim. The Portable Hole is annoying in some respects because we can't rely on it to remove stuff because they can then melt down it away and we're going to feel pretty bad. So we get rid of a Grindstone, we'll get rid of this Pithing Needle. Retrofitter Foundry is kind of an annoying one as well, but I think we're going to keep that in. Looking for 2 more cuts. Canonist is great, it really slows them down. Flying blockers, Stoneforge Mystic, these things are good. Maybe we'll trim another Oswald. And we're looking for 1 more cut. Leaning towards... Actually, we'll get rid of one of our Painter's Servants. We don't have to go all out for the combo here. I like the Crucible because we can lock our opponent out. I think this is okay. I don't... so we have 3... So we've got 3 Oswalds. We've cut an Oswald, a Painter, and a Grindstone. And the Needle. That seems fine. Like, we're not really that susceptible to Wasteland with our 9 basics and Crucible of Worlds in our deck. We can actually win the Wasteland war as long as our opponent's not ahead on board when we start it. This hand does not have any of those planes I was just talking about, so we're going to mulligan it. This one also doesn't have any of those planes we were talking about. But it does have Urza, Saga, and Wastelands. Don't want to try and cheese my opponent with a double Wasteland hand and draw into a planes at any point. I think we will keep this. And we'll get rid of the Oswald. So if we draw any of our white sources, which is the most likely thing that we're going to draw, then we're alright. But if not... Alright, they had a Delver. That's the one thing we didn't really want to see. I would have rather seen... Okay, let's play this out. The other option we have here is to Saga and stuff, but our opponent's ahead on board now. So Daze has entered the revealed zone. Volcanic Island. Plains. We know they have a Daze, so I'm just going to rebuy this play again. They're probably going to float some mana. Oh, they're just going to straight up cast a Brainstorm. Sure. Right, our opponent's got a land drop. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why you don't just sit there, Wasteland and Delver. Okay, so this is going to be a Daze from our opponent. What would we like them to Daze? The Mother or the Esper Sentinel? Let's play out the one that dies to Meltdown. Okay, I didn't think that warranted an answer. Okay, so basically we just gave them 6 free damage because they had land drops, but it's awkward. Let's play this one out. If we play this Stoneforge, it's going to get dazed, but that's okay. We're going to get Batterskull because we're going to need some life soon. Just try and get 1 point damage in. They could have the Fairy Rogue thing maybe, or they could have a Snapcaster. Seems unlikely they'd have a Snapcaster though. Alright, it didn't have anything, I was just fetching. So still got this Daze floating around. We're going to kill our Stoneforge now. They are going to kill our Stoneforge. Okay. We're getting towards needing an answer here. An Ancient Den. So we can play a Painted Servant around a Daze here. I think we'll name white. Represent something like a Solitude. And then we can untap and kill them if our Painter lives. So we could have played a Stoneforge there. But if they killed our Stoneforge, then we lose anyway. So we may as well go for the line that can actually win us the game. It's going to be end of turn Brainstorm? No. Our opponent's got 4 cards in hand now. One of them is Daze. Alright. A red and a blue. This is going to be a Meltdown for 2. Feels like a Meltdown for 2. Alright. So if we'd have played the Stoneforge here, that would have been able to get around the Meltdown. We would lose our Ancient Den. Okay. Not ideal. But here we are. We're also going to lose our Urza Saga in a second. So let's float a mana off of this and go and find something. What do we have? A Grindstone to give us a chance to possibly win the game. But how are we going to do that? Whatever spell we play is going to get... We know they have this Daze in their hand. So we play the Stoneforge. If we play this, nothing happens. We just die anyway. So I think we play this and hope they mess up and don't use their Daze. This still doesn't do it for us either. We need to draw a source to Plowshares. But if they do Daze this, then we're more likely to be able to resolve a source to Plowshares. Okay. This doesn't help us out, unfortunately. I had to kind of play the juiciest thing out to get Daze. So we can't draw a land and a removal spell here. 4 mana. Minsk and Boo. Yep, that'll do. That'll do. Okay, we want the Pithing Needle back because we've seen the Minsk and Boo. Understood. Where is our Pithing Needle? Come back, Pithing Needle. Oswald lives through Meltdown, so I'm relatively interested in that. I think... what are we looking at trimming here? Trim a Grindstone. Like, we've got 4 Sagas already. Right. This hand seems okay. This is our only Grindstone, though, so we don't really want to play out until we can kill our opponent with it. But we have a Mother of Runes to blank their removal. We have a kill spell for their first guy. We have 2 planes to play this game on. If the game goes on long enough, we can drop a Batterskull. I would rather have a little bit more stuff going on than this. But we've got a lot of good draws, and this sets us up for success. We answer their first threat without putting it into their graveyard for the purposes of Murktide. And we also answer all their removal spells. I imagine they're just going to Lightning Bolt this. Nope, they're just going straight for a Delver, sure. Power Planes. Cast a Portal Hole. Goodbye, Devil's Secrets. We've seen Meltdown rather than Brotherhood's End, so I don't think they're going to have a sweeper in. So I will play out the second Mother of Runes. Yeah, so they got days. That's fine. These are things that we might have to work through anyway. It sets our opponent back a land. I don't hate that. And a Ponder. Sure. So we're not going to be facing down a threat this turn. If we can just keep hitting land drops, we'll be able to make our Batterskull in due course. Source of Plowshares. That's our next creature answered. Ideally, we'd like to answer something scarier with it. Like a Murktide type thing. A Delver of Secrets. I think we do have to answer this because our hand doesn't really go anywhere just yet. We need some live draws. A Wasteland. Now we can Wasteland them off of green. But they've just pondered. I think we're going to hold this and try and resolve a Batterskull. If our opponent doesn't make a land drop this turn, then we'll hit their Tropical Island. A Brainstorm. Yeah. So this is sort of the reason. They're just going to cantrip into another land if they need one. So I don't mind the Wastelands if we're knocking our opponent off balance or if we're locking them out of the game. But just a little one like this isn't really worth doing. We could take out their only green source. A Karakas. Do we just jam the Batterskull into a daze? I don't think that's where I want to be. But now we have a choice of do we try and just get rid of this Tropical Island. Go here. Brazen Borrower. So we give itself protection from blue. So the Petty Theft will not go into the Adventure Zone. This makes me think our opponent's going to kill our Mother of Runes next turn. Do we want to... I don't think we want to... We just want to one more land so we can cast a Batterskull around a daze. While our opponent's not making threats, I don't mind so much. We've got the time. Start the Storyteller. Alright, this is a great draw. Let's have a card of Eiganjo, please. Let's draw an Ancient Den. We'll play out this Ancient Den. And do I want to Wasteland our opponent's Tropical Island now? I think we've got to stay on the same plan of trying to play the Batterskull around a daze. The one thing we're trying to dodge this turn is like a Tarmogoyf. A Meltdown. Somewhat irritating. Okay. Stoneforge Mystic. Sure. Let's jam this. I'm going against the Kaldra. If our Stoneforge lives, then we can drop a Batterskull in, and then we can be gaining life. Although we currently win the race, so if our opponent doesn't have anything here, we're just going to get a Stoneforge victory, in theory. Alright, maybe not. A Lightning Bolt. Our opponent's got 3 cards in hand. Are we playing out the Canonist, or are we waiting to play around this daze? I think we're playing the Canonist. This stops our opponent from cantripping into something. Is this going to flip? No flip. Okay, so they found a creature, or... Okay, they found a land. That's good news for us. A Wasteland. Just jam the Batterskull here. Oh wow, we're just in. Pretty good. Do I think our opponent's got anything that can block this? They haven't shown us any flash creatures like Endurance or anything, so I'm going to swing in with the Canonist. Because we're getting towards casting the Kaldra, I'm going to not bother doing this, and they've got the second land anyway. So we're currently winning the race, but our opponent can make something like a Minsk and Boo this turn, which could be annoying. If not, I think it would make that pre-combat, so sure, we'll take the 3 there. Interesting. I think maybe we're getting rid of their tropical islands. Shut them off of Minsk and Boo mana. The other option is shut them off of red, but they have Tarmogoyfs that might be able to beat our guy in combat. Jam this one out, we'll go to attacks. Yeah, no, we're going with all of them. I think if we connect here, we're in pretty good shape. If they have a Murktide Regent, that can certainly be irritating for us. They just found another land, so they got green mana again. But they need to find another land before they can Minsk and Boo. Painter's Servant. We're 1 mana off deploying both the Painter's Servant, the Grindstone, and comboing on the same turn. So let's just bash in with our guy. If they try to blow up our Batterskull, we can bounce it now and then redeploy it. The power of Phyrexian Germ tokens. We also have the Karakas, which checks Minsk and Boo as well, which is pretty nice. Eiganjo. Okay, we have to deploy that pre-combat, so we can do this now. Right, they're in chump block mode. We have the win with what's on board now. I don't think we have any need to play this Eiganjo. This gives us a second answer to Minsk and Boo. If they have Wasteland Minsk and Boo, we can always get rid of the Minsk. Unlikely they're going to attack. Okay, that's fine. We can equip the Batterskull to another creature next turn if we want to anyway. Misty Rainforest. What is this going to be? Brotherhood's End. Deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Sure. We lose both our guys. Just jamming this stuff, the Storyteller. He's got 2 cards. Let's jam this. Sounds a card. So I do have Brotherhood's End as well, which is interesting to know. We've already played our Eiganjo, so we can't play our Urza Saga. Right, I think we'll pass here. Our opponent's holding up hard cast. Okay, so they're going after this, which does make me think they have the Minskampoo. We're just doing that for later. We've got a lightning bolt for this? They do not. Like, we've got them coming and going here, right? We've got as a Saga constructs. We've got a combo kill in hand. I don't think we needed to go for it. Like, we're so far ahead in this game. I don't think trying to just jam the painter combo and we can just carry on leveraging their life total. Because we've turned off these fetches as well. Alright, yeah, so that was pretty comprehensive in that game 3, really. So, yep, 1-0 against Delver. Let's go to round 2. We don't have any mana to cast our spells. This is an easy mulligan. Okay. We're a little bit cold to Blood Moon and Wasteland here, but this one is a fine keep. We can play Sentinel into an Urza Saga game. What's our opponent working with over there? A forest. Okay, our opponent is on an elf deck. Proper combo elves here, so we're going to need to maybe change our approach. This Canonist is very good. This Karakas, not so much. Are we supposed to play out the Saga to race to Painter? I don't think we are. I think we're still supposed to do this. So maybe we can draw a card if they cast a Glimpse. We just want them to kind of do not a lot with the next turn so we can play the Canonist. Because that stops them casting multiple elf spells in a single turn. If at any point they give me the option to trade with my Esper Sentinel, I will take it. Alright, this looks like a setup turn, hopefully. Another one of those. Okay, that's fine. They will have a Besaidu in their deck, so they might be able to kill the Canonist. So deploy this. Make ourselves a Canonist. So this insulates us from them spamming a load of spells. But what it doesn't do is stop them from natural ordering next turn, right? So tap these 2, 3, 4 if I have another one. So I think we attack. And if they want to trade here, that's great for us. They're not going to. They're going to take 1 damage and just move on with their life. But you never know. If they want to block with the Dryad Arbor and then bounce it back, that's also great for us. The thing we don't beat here is natural order. So it's probably the thing that's about to happen to us. If they have a mana source, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so they can tap this, untap it. So tap both these, untap this, replay this. Okay, why would Symbiote? That's their spell for the turn. That's good news for us. So now we need to play Fiddlebender and try and race to the Grindstone. That is our strategy. These staffs are not looking amazing right now. So play this out. This isn't the matchup for the staffs, really. We can make some just Saga tokens and try and get that way, but I think we need to deploy this guy. So the Fiddlebender can turn a Sentinel into a Painter on the next turn. And then we have 1, 2. So if we draw a land, we have them dead next turn. A Cradle. So they can just natural order for creative and kill us now. Alright, their 1 spell for the turn is Heritage Druid. Excellent news. Please, can we draw a land? It's game over if we draw a land. Unless they've got Progenitors in their deck. It's not quite game over. We did not draw the land there. That's really awkward. I'll put these on the stack that way around. What's the best way of us finding mana here? We could make a token here. Doesn't really get us anywhere. We can't get rid of this Canonist. That's going to be a disaster for us. So if we make a construct now... Sure, I think we make a construct. And then we get Pithing Needle this time, naming... so this one will come in and we're going to name Allosaurus Shepherd. Allosaurus Shepherd, there we go. We worked out how to spell it in the end. That's the main thing. This one goes up. Not drawing a land there is pretty awkward though. We can attack with our 1/1. They can block and bounce. But that's fine for us if they do. We're not attacking with our Canonist because they want that off the board. If they'd have had natural order, I think they would have cast it last turn and killed us. So that's something, I guess. We do need to find a land. We can like grind up into Crucible of Worlds. That's not an unreasonable thing for us to try and do here. Right, we found a land. So we'll play this. I think this one does get us the Grindstone. So I think we jam this and use this to find more mana. We've already played our land for turn, so there's no point cracking this right now. Go attacks. In with our guys. They can do the block and bounce trick here. They're going to bounce this with Quirion Ranger. And take one. It's slow work. But you've got to do what you've got to do sometimes. So in our opponent's turn, we'll draw a card off Staff the Storyteller. With the idea of drawing into land so we can actually do our combo in the near future. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Arcane of Valor's Reach. Oh, you're going to make me read this, aren't you? As it enters the battlefield, choose Artifact, Enchantment, Instant, Sorcery, or Planeswalker. I can't cast spells of the chosen type. Also, this is a Flying Vigilance Flampler. They've named Artifact. Understood. For their one spell for the turn, that's a pretty good one. Let's draw one of these cards. It's not a legend either, so... Oh, we drew the Painter. That's annoying. So we can't cast Artifacts. Interesting. What we can do here is... We can attack with this and block and bounce. That's not really going to get us anywhere at this point, is it? We can turn this into a Retrofitter's Foundry and just draw loads of cards with it. But I don't think that's where I want to be either. I think we are going to turn this Sentinel into a Painter's Servant. And we'll name White, I think. Make them think about Solitude. And I don't know if there's any point of us attacking here, right? They are just going to bounce. Alright, I think we're on blocks for a little bit. If we draw a land next turn, we can grindstone our opponent. If we don't draw a land, then we can turn our Staff the Storyteller into a Crucible and get the land that way. Actually, if we'd done that this turn, that might have been better, actually, wouldn't it? Oh, natural. Okay, it didn't matter. We're just dead. Crater Hoofs, unless it's in their hand. Yep, that'll do. Yep, okay, so what we should have done there is we should have turned the Staff the Storyteller into Crucible, played a land from our graveyard, then untapped, play another land from our graveyard, flip the 1/1 into the Painter and grind them. But it didn't matter because we were dead this turn anyway, which is unfortunate. Alright, so, elves, you say. I would like things that kill elves. I would like things that kill elves. I would like things that stop things coming into play. So we've got a whole load of cards that are pretty important here. This isn't really a game to sort of crucible your opponent out of, I don't think. Mother of Runes doesn't do anything here. The staffs are quite slow. I like having our combo though. How useful is... we don't need Soulguide Lantern either. The Esper Sentinels are pretty middling here. So I think maybe drop these out. And I still like the Needle. I want to have maximum combo pieces to combo off, I think. We're trimming a couple of staffs here. Because we're not really about that life. We're just going to slow them down enough so that we can smash them in the face with either our combo or some beatdown. This is an interesting one. We have the Canonist, right? Which is a very good card in this matchup. But we don't have anything else going on. I think we have to mulligan this one for like some removal or a bit more action. This isn't the one either, is it? Yuck. Right, we'll keep this one. So what's going to go away? Batterskull can go away. Painted Servant can go away. I do like Containment Priest as a thing we can do here. Well, it's kind of doing the same thing as the Grafdigger's Cage. I think we get rid of the Containment Priest here. Not a big fan of how this panned out, but I still think this is the best hand that we've had so far. Let's play the Grafdigger's Cage. Now, one problem we do have is our opponent could just force a Vigor and take out both of our artifacts once we've deployed them. Because we want to put this Pithing Needle on a like Allosaurus Shepherd or possibly Wirewood Symbiote, depending on what they play here. It's a pretty good draw for us. I think we are looking at jamming our big threat. So we've got rid of Natural Order as a thing that can get us, as well as Green Sun Zenith. Yes, we're just going to get the Kaldra. It's the quickest threat to close this game out. Snuff out. Alright. Not closing the game quickly with the old Kaldra now, unfortunately. Does our opponent have a second land drop that they're going to make in their second main? Yeah, they do. Okay. And a Visionary. Alright. I think we are certainly not looking great. If we'd got to untap with the Stoneforge, I think we would have had a real game there. So now, are we getting rid of the Allosaurus Shepherd or the Wirewood Symbiote? That's a tough call. I don't even think we need to do it right now. I think we can wait. It's not looking good for us. Right, so they're going to attack us for 3, and they're going to untap their Esper Sentinel. And we're probably done here, but we've certainly got draws that can help us back into this one. And while the Grafdigger's cage is in play, they don't have an easy button to just win the game with. Another Esper Sentinel. Yep, we're just going to get beat down by 1 mana 2/2s here. Not quite how we drew it up. Okay, a Cradle. They play this. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we have to play this now, naming Allosaurus Shepherd. And we have a Plow at least, which can keep us in this game for a little bit longer. I don't really want to have to Plow a Nettle Sentinel, but strange things happen. Assassin's Trophy on our Grafdigger's cage. Yep, it's a bit awkward, I won't lie. One of our many planes. Okay, so probably getting natural ordered this turn. A Heritage Druid. Sure. Adding 3 to their pool. A Green Suns for 1. In response to this, we will kill the Visionary so they don't have a draw engine. And then we are F6'd for the turn. Right, so they did get the Symbiote anyway. We've got a land there, 1 card in hand, so hopefully they've got nothing. But I suspect we're going to get something very unpleasant coming our way. A Natural Order. Sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5, 10, 15 without the base stats. That's us dead. Yep. Got elfed up. I think last time I played this deck, the one matchup I lost was elves as well. I don't think the elf matchup is particularly bad or anything, but it can certainly just go sideways for us. We mulligan pretty hard there. Alright, let's get around 3. We've kind of got a weird hand here, right? We've got a redraw. We've got a little bit of interaction. I think we keep this, but this is very underwhelming to me. The Mother is very powerful as a tool, though. This is where our opponent's Reanimator. We play the Mother out, and then they get us. If they mulligan to 5, then I'll probably play out the Lantern first. Oh, I'm really tempted to play out this Lantern, though. Sure, I'll play out the Lantern. Just in case our opponent is a Reanimator player. I'd hate to lose. Oh my god, we got the cold read on them. Alright, we're going to have a Faithless Looting over there. Yep, alright. We played the Saga Lantern on turn 1. Can we steal a game from Reanimator with our Singleton? There's a Grief and an Archon over there. Alright. I think we want to jam a threat first. And then we'll just go to town on our opponent's resources. So next turn is going to be Wasteland the Badlands, Wasteland their other land, play the Mother. Okay, they're casting a Reanimate here. We eat this. That's their spell for turn. We'll Wasteland their Badlands. We'll go to attacks. Come in with a Canonist. So because of the Canonist, our opponent can't put a creature in their graveyard and reanimate it in the same turn. But what they could do here is play an end of turn Entomb. An end of turn Entomb, and then reanimate it on their turn. But we're going to have a Wasteland to try and shut that off. Play Mother of Runes. Play out a Wasteland. So our opponent is probably going to get a basic Swamp if they're going to Entomb. Okay, they're not entombing. Basic Swamp. Here comes a Verdant Catacombs. A Faithless Looting. Let's see what they find. Nothing of note. Exciting. There's no point wastelanding now. We might as well do it in our turn. We have full information about what's going on. Staff of the Storyteller. I like that one. Tracks Plains. Go to attacks. Mother of Runes is coming in here because it doesn't really do a lot. This matchup, they're not going to be targeting our creatures with anything. It's just going to be getting 1 point of damage in. We will wasteland our opponent. This makes it so they can't flashback Faithless Looting next turn. We'll Staff of the Storyteller, get ourselves a little 1/1. Now is our opponent going to end of turn and Entomb? Looks like they are. We've done a lot, but we're still going to lose this game. So they're going to get Grizzlebrand or Archon of Cruelty. They're going for the Grizzlebrand. That's a slightly riskier one, in my opinion. I don't think we can beat Archon, but we might be able to beat Grizzlebrand because they're going to pay a bunch of life here. I guess they might not. They might, if they're smart, they'll just use it as a 7/7 lifelinker. Right, they've gone to 5. An Archon of Cruelty in the graveyard there. I think we are drawing a card first. See what we can find. Another Mother of Runes. Interesting. We can stop them gaining 7 using our Mother of Runes here. Or we can deploy the Staff of the Storyteller, which allows us to recoup the cards we're going to lose in a second. I think that's slightly better. So we have a choice here. We can attack our opponent down to 2 down to 3 using our Canonist because we have the Mother of Runes. Or we could save the Mother of Runes so that our opponent doesn't gain any life this turn. I think we're on the stop our opponent gaining life and hope that they're relying on a reanimate to get their creature back. So I can animate dead. Sure. Get rid of this. I think we'll get rid of the Mother here. We just want more mana for Starfist Storyteller here. They're going to attack with a Grizzlebrand? They are. Interesting. Going to block here. Give this guy protection from black. They don't gain any life. Now, they do have an Archon of Cruelty, which is definitely going to kill us in relatively short order. Pithing Needle. It's not really the one, is it? Let's draw a card. We don't have any plows or anything to find an Ancient Den. Alright, let's draw another card. A Painter's Servant. Can we survive for another turn to try and draw into our combo? Maybe. They're not going to have snuff outs or anything. We'll name white here. So, not a great situation for us. They're going to 7 here. They've got another Entomb. They failed to find there. Right, Scrubland. A Grief. Sure. That's their spell for the turn. You can take our Pithing Needle. That's not what this game is about. This game is about me drawing Grindstone off the top and winning the game. This creature will get protection from black. And then I think we're sacrificing the Mother of Runes here. Because we don't want our opponent to be able to play any more spells this turn. They might kill our stuff. Alright, so this stops them gaining 7 life. We get a 5. We draw Grindstone, we win the game. Come on, deck. Give me the Grindstone. Not quite the one, is it? This is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, we can hit them for a little bit, but we're done there. Alright. Losing to Reanimator is a thing that's going to happen, right? We run it pretty close though. So we have some cards I like here. Loran has a little bit of text, but I'm not massively on it. The Plows and Deafening Silence also do stuff here. First thing to look at is these. We do not need a Crucible. That can go. Is this game about Retrofitter Foundry? No. Is this game about Portable Hole? It's kind of nice to have one to tutor up to get rid of an Animate Dead. But that feels like just setting yourself up for failure all the time. I don't think we need a Batterskull here. I don't think we need the Portable Hole at the end of the day. So we have these options. Now what? Do we want Deafening Silence to slow our opponent down? Do we want Swords to Plowshares to kill their creatures if they manage to stick one? This game isn't really about Staff the Storyteller, is it? It's sort of a quick combo deck. Let's get rid of these. Smash in some... I think we do want the Plows. Especially since they could go into like the Dathi Voidwalker plan. Which is what a lot of them have been sideboarding into. And if they show and tell in, you know, we can maybe cut off some graveyards and stuff. But if we don't have Containment Priest, we don't get to stop show and tell. So at least we can plow like an Archon of Cruelty or something. Because they don't get the thing they want with show and tell. They get whatever's in their hand. Now we need a good one. We have a piece of graveyard hate. But if our opponent discards us, we're in trouble. We can play out the Karakas to maybe bounce a legendary. And we'll pass. Let's see how bad it is for us. Alright, we're going to lose our Containment Priest. What do they pitch? An Archon of Cruelty, was it? A Dark Ritual. We're getting done on turn 1. Entomb. Interesting. They took the Painter rather than the Containment Priest so that they could Archon of Cruelty us. Okay, I guess we name white and then our guy dies. I'll get rid of this Wasteland. I don't think that's what this game's about anymore. Okay, we have a Containment Priest that doesn't do anything. Drew another Wasteland. We can't play any of our cards out because they're just going to get killed by the Archon of Cruelty. In a bit of a bind. This guy should kill us in 2 turns. And get rid of this Wasteland. The game's not about that. Plow? We drew a Plow. Okay. That's what they're in there for. So now we have a Containment Priest, which can beat down. Oh wow. They just scoop into the Containment Priest. Interesting. Okay. That seems fine. Are we into stuff to stop an Animate Dead if they do an Animate Dead on turn 1? Like, Swords to Plowshares does that anyway. I think we just have to resubmit. We have a piece of Graveyard Hate. I guess we keep it. I suspect this is going to get discarded, but our opponent kept 7 and they're on the play, so this is almost certainly game over for us. Faith is looting. And they haven't paid their land yet, so they're probably looking to cast a Reanimate now. Or an Animate Dead. Animate Dead's even worse for us because they get to draw 14 cards and then we lose. I think we're done here, to be honest. That'll do. Alright, yeah, Reanimator. The ceiling of the Reanimator deck is extraordinarily high. And we took a game off them, so that's something. I definitely win this matchup a reasonable amount of time. But if your opponent ever keeps a 7 on the play as a Reanimator, you're not winning that one. Alright, let's go to the 4th round. We kill our opponent on turn 3 with this one. You can give that a go. We'll see what our opponent's doing though, because we might have to adjust the situation. Okay. Ornithopter. Is this hammer time? But the Prismatic Vista is not what I was expecting to see there. Prismatic Vista and Ornithopter in the same deck. I don't know what our opponent is doing. I would like to get our opponent dead quickly. A Brainstorm, sure. Ornithopter. Ornithopter, Prismatic Vista. Brainstorm. Well, we'll see what happens. Feels like we're getting a Force of Will here. Pitching a Daze. Okay, so we have an Urza Saga which can find the thing we want anyway. Hopefully we'll get some indication what our opponent's doing. Oh, it's ninjas, isn't it? Okay, my brain's finally got there. Yeah, we're getting ninjaed. So they're going to put in one of the guys. The Prismatic Vista threw me for a bit there, but it's ninjas. They're a fan of the channel. So, what are we doing here? So we're playing out Saga. Then we jam this Mother of Runes. And then we can protect the painter next turn. Spellstar Sprite, okay. We're on like a Fairy Ninjas. So they're going to keep bouncing the Spellstar Sprite and using it, which is not the best for us. I ain't got 2 cards left in hand though. A Retrofitter Foundry, sure. 1 card left in hand. They can make a 4/4, we race that. They got a guy to put in? No. Alright. They could have another Spellstutter Sprite. That would be very irritating. So we have a choice. We either play around Spellstutter Sprite or Daze. I'd rather play around Spellstutter Sprite or Daze. Because we can Wasteland this and then play the painter on the next step. I think we're jamming this guy around a Daze. We can get spell started. Making a 4/4. We're named black so we can't be snuffed out. And then we'll play ourselves a 1/1. Fairy Mastermind. Alright. Our opponent needs to do something to kill our painter, otherwise we have them dead next turn. Let's see what you got, opponent. Nope, I'll take that damage. Yuriko. How much damage are you going to take? Oh, it's Yuriko. Retrofitter's Foundry. Sure. So on the 4 Foundry build, I would imagine. Which means they're not running Baleful Strix, they got Fairy Mastermind instead. Let's float a mana here. Get a Grindstone. Play Saga in case things go wrong. And then we'll Grindstone our opponent. Fatal Push is pretty good here. Alright, we get to see the whole deck. We're looking at Brainstorm, changing Outcast, Retrofit. Yeah, so it's pretty much exactly what I expected once I saw the Fairy Mastermind instead of the Baleful Strix slot. Sure. Alright. So, Containment Priest. That gets around Ninjutsu. Let me have some of that. Swords to Plowshares feels useful here too. Lorana the Third Path is going to have some useful targets. The March by the World Lights can snipe out all their little guys, if that's the thing we want. Crucible is going to be really bad here. Pithing Needle on Retrofitters is fine. I think we don't want our own Retrofitters. We don't want the Saga Lantern. The Sentinels here actually aren't that good, truth be told. They can deal with the cantrips and stuff. I like these ones a lot. Big guys. Canonist not really doing it for us. We've got 5 slots to fill if we want to have all of these. I like Portable Hole. Then we'll drop one of those. One of our marches. Still need to find 3 more slots here. Maybe we're trimming on painters stuff. Get rid of 2 painters and a grindstone. We've got the combo. We've got removal. This seems good. We'll keep. Not sure how good this Wasteland's going to be. So you always get into the weird situation of do you kill the enabler or do you kill the thing they put in? Right, Ponder. So not a turn 1. Well, they could still have an Ornithopter. So let's not count our eggs before they've hatched just yet. Okay. I think we're going to jam this Grindstone this turn. This is our Is this our only grindstone? No, we've still got another grindstone. Let me just check my sideboard. There's one grindstone in there, which means there's another one in the deck. I shot. We'll play the grindstone out now. So our opponent's going to be fearing it the whole way along. Force of Will on the grindstone. Nice. Brainstorm. Sure. So if we can whittle away their resources and then kill the thing they're trying to do, we'll be in an okay shape. Changing Outcast. If we want to kill this, we have to do it at the right timing. I think we are going to let this attack us. And if they put something in, we'll kill the thing they put in. But otherwise, we'll just leave the Changing Outcast and just take one from it. So applying this around a daze. Because our opponents tapped all their mana there, they don't get to deploy another thing. Okay, so they've got Force of Will, Pitching, and Ingenious Infiltrator. Okay. They will get to recoup one of those cards though, so a little bit unfortunate. That makes the first Force of Will make more sense to me because they had another one saved up anyway. So now, what are we doing? I think we are deploying our Ancient Den, deploying our Staff of the Storyteller. We can block with this and also draw a card. And that seems pretty reasonable to me. Happy to chump block here. We want to be doing all of our Staff of the Storyteller draws on our opponent's turn because they are a deck with very masterminded. Alright. So we can deploy 2 spells this turn. We'll put out this Painted Servant. We'll name black to get around... Alright, what we've got here? A Brainstorm. So we're going to name black to get around Snuff Out. This is a 1/3, so it blocks the Ingenious Infiltrator really well. Our opponent won't ever get a chance to snuff this out because it'll be black as it enters. But they might be able to counterspell it. We'll take the 3rd Force of Will though. Okay, so we're in black. And then we have a choice between Fiddlebender. If we play Fiddlebender, we can kill our opponent next turn. Because we can weld, or not weld, Fiddlebend the Den into the Grindstone. So our opponent does get to put a creature in off of the Changing Outcast. Or they can just attack with this and draw 1 card because it's a ninja. And this triggers whenever a ninja deals combat damage to a player. Let's see how they go. Attacking with both. Okay. We will be blocking here with our 1/3. I don't think they have a way of adding 1 damage. Unless they're playing Pepper Smoke, which feels a very niche card that they're very unlikely to be playing. So drew a card off of their Changing Outcast. Do they have a way of interacting with our painter? Let's go and get ourselves a Grindstone. We don't need to do it until our opponent's upkeep. This could be Brazen Borrower. Could be Drown in the Lock. Hercule's Recall. Yuck. Okay, we get to grind our opponent, I guess, for a little bit. That's a pretty good turn for our opponent there. Sure, so now they're drawing lots of cards a turn. The fact that it also bounces our lands is pretty gross too. Alright, let's deploy Painted Servant. Do you find a Force of Will? No. We can deploy the Grindstone, or we can deploy the Stoneforge Mystic this turn. And deploy the Grindstone next turn. Yeah, I don't mind this. Let's put this way, if they have another Hercule's Recall, at least we can do something. Is it the Kaldra or the Batterskull? I like how it's getting a little bit sketchy. I think I want the Batterskull here. The Batterskull also attacks and blocks because of the Vigilance, which is actually really good on the board because their guys are quite small. So it can check their guys, gain us life. Our opponent must have found something like a Urza by now, which is not going to be great for us. I haven't played a 3rd land for a bit. If we'd have had if we hadn't have played out the Ancient Den into a potential Hercule's Recall and used a different land, we would have been in a better spot there. So we can play out the Grindstone, but if that doesn't work, we can then play the Ancient Den and weld Fiddlebend another Grindstone. Oh no, our other Grindstones in the graveyard already. Murderous Cut. Sure. So this is the reason I played the Stoneforge Mystic, because at least we have something we can do now. Are we supposed to block? I don't want to trade my Fiddlebender off here. We just got to let them have it, unfortunately. Our opponent's got so many cards over there. Okay, they found another land. A Brainstorm. So we can play the Staff of the Storyteller and the Batterskull, which will then put another counter on the Staff of the Storyteller. So we can leverage a few cards from it. We've got Thoughtseize. We haven't seen any Thoughtseize yet in this game. In this match at all. Murderous Cut. Okay. Say goodbye to our little friends. So we have options. We can slam the Batterskull, or we can play Staff of the Storyteller and Stoneforge Mystic. If we play the Batterskull, it plays into Daze, So I don't think I want to do that just yet. So I think we are on Staff the Storyteller first. This gives us something to block with. It's relatively expendable. And play this, which gets us Kaldra as well. And then we'll hold up this mana for the Staff the Storyteller activation. Are we blocking with our Oswald Fiddlebender? No. We're going to offense with it. Next time we can play the Batterskull around a days even if they kill our Stoneforge. I'm surprised our opponent hasn't hit someone like a Uriko yet. Because they can attack with the Changing Outcast, turn into Uriko. And then replay the Changing Outcast. Let's block on the Infiltrator. Let them have their little cantrip. We've got another one, sure. This is actually pretty good because it draws cards off of the ninjas. Retrofitter Foundry, this can turn them into 4/4s if they need them to be. Which can then tussle with our Batterskull. So we're on trying to draw a plow to get rid of this ingenious Infiltrator. It's not really what we want to see here, was it? So we'll go 1, 1, activate this. We're going to put in Kaldra. This puts a counter on our Staff the Storyteller. And then we'll draw a card from this, see if we can find a plow. March of Otherworldly Light. Similar but different. Not the one, is it? Play this out. We'll tinker away this for... The portable hole doesn't really do what we need here. We're going to do Pithing Needle on Retrofitter Foundry though. So we have a 3-turn clock here if we're attacking. Do we want to be attacking here? I don't think we want to be attacking. So we can now deploy the Grindstone here if we want to. And hold up March of Otherworldly Light. Because we've got white cards to pitch to it. A Spell Stutter Sprite. Okay. So our response to this. We target this. So we'll exile this. It makes it 2 cheaper, right? So 2, 4. Play this. See if we can get rid of this Infiltrator. Okay, so this shuts off the card draw from our opponent now. We will be losing our Grindstone, so we can't combo kill our opponent. But we do have a cantripping Batterskull next turn. That will cost us either 2 or 5 mana. So we'll see how that goes. Kind of wish we'd attack with the Phyrexian Germ token now. And we should have played stuff in the first steps. We weren't sure if we were going to get rid of that Infiltrator. Yep, so they have another Infiltrator, so they're going to draw 3 cards here. Just a casual recall there. Bit yikes there. It's been a pretty good game. An Ornithopter, sure. So this represents another threat. They can jump in next turn. Mother of Runes, what are you doing for us right now? I think we activate the Mother of Runes, get a card on the Staff of the Storyteller. Now the problem here is if we draw a card now, our opponent can jump the fairy in that draws a card if we draw an extra card. They might have boarded them out because we are a blue deck. Go Gadget, Staff of the Storyteller. We got fairy to flash in. They didn't. Okay. That's not very exciting. Have we got anything fun that we can fetch up? We don't really want to take this needle off. Have we got any 2-drops that we might be interested in here? We can get another Staff of the Storyteller here. I like that. Let's play this one out. A Brainstorm, sure. This might just be getting the value before this comes down. They don't really care about it. But we're going to turn it into a Staff of the Storyteller. And then we're going to bash with our Phyrexian Germ token. Oh, are we getting another fairy here? Oh, it's the same one, right? Because they bounced the previous one. So they do have a spell starter that they might deploy. But is this worth your thing, or is it a bait? I think because it's an artifact, they're more likely to counter it. Oh wow, we're in. Let's go and find our little friend. Staff of the Storyteller. Getting some cards. This is a Hercule's Recall. A Fairy Mastermind, sure. Surprised they didn't do that when we did the previous stuff. 2, 3, 4. It's not technically dead. Coming with this. They're just going to take the 5 here. Considering how many cards our opponent's drawn, we're giving it a pretty good go. Do we want to wasteland our opponent now? I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just thinking if we want to have the Phyrexian Germ token as a thing that we can do. Do I want to wasteland our opponent here? Yes, I think so. Each player draws a card. Interesting. Alright. Which makes it virtually impossible for them to double Ninja. We didn't see the Moon Circuit hackers from our opponent when we milled them over before. So we don't have to worry about them being able to put 2 things in by dropping a mana here. Now, we might be dead on the next turn. certainly a possibility. We need to be able to hit our opponent with a Phyrexian Gem token. It doesn't die to Snuff Out. It does die to Murderous Cut. Is the Mastermind coming in as well? No. Alright, we're going to take 2 here. Unless they want to flip any guys into something better. Alright, so we're not dead this turn. But our opponent has many, many cards. This is a fascinating little game. Ornithopter. Don't mind about that one. Maybe we can make our opponent deck by keep doing stuff, the Storyteller stuff. Containment Priest. This is a nice trump card that we have loaded up here. So we'll attack in with these 2. Let's see if we can gain some life. The gain of the life here is going to be big. Alright. Let's play out a Mother of Runes. Spellstart Sprite can clean this one up pretty easily if they want to. We'll use the Staff of Storyteller on our opponent's turn so we don't give them an extra card. Which is Fairy Mastermind. That is not a Hurkyl's Recall, right? So that's something. We've got the Surprise Containment Priest, which I'm hoping is going to do some good stuff. So after they've attacked, I put in the Containment Priest, but before we go to blocks, because that way they can't ninjutsu stuff in, right? Is that how that works? We can do it in response to one of the ninjutsu triggers and try and swallow up the creature. It wasn't that scary last turn, so maybe it won't be that scary this turn. Right, they're coming in for some damages. So block here. Now they're going to have to do some ninjutsu stuff, otherwise they're probably going to die here. Right. Changing Outcast? Sure. Our opponent's already like way above the max hand size. So let's try and jump this guy in end of turn. We don't mind making them draw extra cards here. If we pop both of our guys. Sure. No Containment Priest for us. Let's draw a card. Swords to Plowshares. I don't hate that one at all. Probably want to wait till our turn to play it around a daze. I think our opponent getting 1 card isn't the end of the world. If we can find another piece of removal, that's going to be excellent for us. And they're going to have to get a clean up anyway, so it's not as if they get to keep the card. Let's try and plow this Ingenious Infiltrator. And then we can swing out with our guys. Interesting. Do we hold back the Mother or not? Can we hold back the Mother in case they've got like a Brazen Borrower type effect? I guess I can just bounce the equipment though. Sholdrick's Edict. Each player sacrifices a creature token. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token. So let's just work out what they do for blocks. So block here, and they block here. They take 5 and don't die. So I think we have to sacrifice our Kaldra here. And make sure we gain the life. Because they have to put some guys under the bus. Well, they don't have to, I suppose. They can go to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to go up to 8. Alright, so we're going to gain 4. They're going to lose one of their creatures. Now, what are we doing here? Deploy this. We're going to deploy our Painter's Servant here. Our opponent might want to do something about this because the threat of combo happens. We'll no black so we can't get snuffed out. And then we'll pass. Very weird game, this one. Very long and weird game. Pretty exciting though. I've been enjoying it. I just have to imagine that the last 17 cards of our opponent's library must be pretty darn good. So if they have a Yuriko, we can check it with a Karakas as well. So that's not actually going to do a lot good for them. Although they can put it in twice. If I bounce it once it comes in, they can then replace the other guy and put it in. I have to imagine they have another Hurkyl's Recall in their deck. Which is going to be sad times for us. Maybe we were not supposed to attack with the Stoneforge in case they do Hurkyl's Recall, and then we can put the Batterskull in straight away. That might have been a mistake. But our opponent's only on 3, so we don't need to get much through. If we draw a land, we can put a Batterskull in and equip it to something and attack as well. We can't give our Phyrexian Germ protection from black. So we can't protect it from Murderous Cut because it will fall off because the Batterskull's black. I don't think our opponent does have Snuff Outs in. I think we probably shouldn't have named black and should have named white. So they've only got 1 blue mana up, so they're going to put 1 Yuriko in. Alright, our opponent is on blocks by the looks of it. So the Changing Outcast can't block. They just have the Mastermind to block with. Ah, there we go. They skipped their combat phase by accident. I did a similar thing the other day and forgot to make an Urza Saga token by pressing the wrong button. Okay, Staff of the Storyteller. I quite like this as an option. So this guy comes in, And the Fiddlebender comes in. Happy to trade the Fiddlebender at this point. Sheldrick's Edict. Sacrifice a creature token. So we can trade these off. I'm not going to save it with the mother. I think it's not necessary. I think I'd rather have a Staff of the Storyteller. Look at this. Look at this card advantage in a white deck of all things. Filthy. Let's draw a card. You got another fairy? No. Okay, so we get to play a Plains out. We can play a Fiddlebender and hold up Staff here. This way, if our opponent does a Hercule's Recall, we can get our equipment into our hand and put them with a Stoneforge Mystic. But they don't have any blockers right now, so we want to keep the Karakas up for as long as possible so that we don't have to worry about Euroko. Did they discard any Eurokos yet? They didn't discard any Eurokos. I don't know if they boarded them out because we have Karakas in our deck. It's certainly possible. A Ponder. I love Staff of the Storyteller. I think it's a great card. Good design. Alright. End of that one. Our opponent drew many, many things, but we just happen to have certain things that blocked them, which is kind of my experience with changing, with the Ninjas deck, that sometimes if your opponent can come up the board, it's very hard for you to connect. Now, I did have the Changing Outcast, but we kind of had the Euroko checked and a bunch of other stuff too. Alright, that's 4 in the books. We're 2 and 2. Let's play the final round, see if we can go positive. Alright, we're playing against Lightwalker, who's a very good Painter player, who I know from the Painter Discord. He's got an excellent channel that you should check out. Our hand is unplayable, so we're going to mulligan. This hand's okay. I'm going to keep this one. Double Staff of the Storyteller is pretty nice. I think we might just bin off the Oswald here. We don't need the Oswald. Basic Mountain, so our opponent's probably on a red Painter variant. You can see a Welder, I imagine. Oh, nope. A Painter straight up. Okay. Are we dead on turn 2? Could certainly happen. Now we can play out our Saga to get our own bits and pieces going here. Is that what we have to do? I think it probably is. I think we're going to need to have access to our own Grindstone. Our opponent, if they've got it on turn 2, then we're just dead, I think. They might just Pyroblast our land here. We get to Wasteland off there as a Saga. Goodbye, Saga. And we just need to get up to 3 mana. We get Pyroblasted here. Yeah, I thought that might happen. Right, we're not under any threat from our life total. It's just how strong our opponent can combo into us. This 1/3 can attack us all the times it likes. Just jam out Sentinel. If they just got a grip full of Pyroblast and just keep Wastelanding us, it's going to be pretty funny. Yeah, they're going for the Wasteland effect. I think that's correct. That's what I would do. They're going to attack with their... They didn't attack, interesting. They got another Pyroblast. How many Wastelands? Alright, they didn't have a Pyroblast instead there. A Grindstone. And they're going to pay for 1. So if they've got another mana next turn, we lose the game. Understood. Not a bad turn to draw a Pithing Needle, perhaps. A Plains. I don't think Stoneforge Mystic is going to do it here. I think we need to jam the Fiddlebender and try and draw an Ancient Den. And then we can use that to go and find a Pithing Needle to shut down the Grindstone. Another Painted Servant, sure. Still alive. There we go. Exactly as we drew it up. Let's go and get ourselves a Kaldra and start bashing away. Now, we do lose to a Red Blast here, but they would need land as well. So they would need like a Soul Land to do that. Goblin Engineer, sure. This can certainly find useful things. Phyrexian Dragon Engine, sure. I'm just going to dig them into the land they need, and probably a Red Blast, because they're going to have a whole bunch of Red Blasts available to them. Cauldron is the biggest boy we've got. Send in the biggest boy. And we will turn this Sentinel into a Staff of the Storyteller, I think. And then next turn we can draw a card with the Staff of the Storyteller, turn it into a Crucible, Wasteland them off of Great Furnace. And there's a Saga. Okay, so we get to Wasteland off there as a Saga next turn instead. A Lotus Petal. Just putting the Dragon Engine in. Sure. A whole new grip of cards. Pretty good. Another Engineer. This could be Brayer's Apprentice, I would imagine. Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. Interesting. A Wasteland. Okay. So we will draw a card with our Staff of the Storyteller. Place Wasteland. We will junk this as a Saga. Go to attacks. Attack with our big boy. So we can jump Just trying to think if there's a way. We can use the Ancient Den to get ourselves a Grindstone next turn. So I think we're supposed to sacrifice this for a Crucible for next turn, actually. So that way we can use the Ancient Den to go and get us a Grindstone. And then we can sacrifice our own Pithing Needle and kill our opponent. Because they go into turtle mode with the Snaring Bridge, that's okay for us. We can also Wasteland lock our opponent a little bit. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, sure. Alright, so I think we are playing out our Ancient Den here. Get ourselves a Grindstone. We will... So if we go to attacks here, they put the Ensnaring Bridge in. Yep, what are they losing here? Painter? Yep. Not attacking there. We can try and tax them with our Sentinel, or we can just make a staff of Storyteller and get some more value that way. We've missed 2 points of damage with Spirit Tokens, by the way, in case you were counting. We have them dead next turn. Although they can shift away their own Painter's Servant. Although we can turn our Pithing Needle into a Painter's Servant and guarantee our Grindstone connects. Interesting game. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. Sure, this gives them an artifact they can weld with. We'll gobble that one up while we're here. A mountain. A Soul Guide Lantern. What can they weld in? Can they weld in anything that stops us? I don't think so. I think we've got this. I guess they can weld in a Dragon Engine and draw some cards, actually. That's not nothing, is it? No. Yeah, so they got the Dragon Engines, they got a new grip of cards, so we might not be able to go off here. But they only have 1 red source right now. Let's draw a card from this. Ancient Den, okay. So we can combo them off right now. We can turn this into a Painter, so Red Blast doesn't do enough. I don't hate that as a strategy. I think that's what we're going to do here. They need to have a Spirit Guide and a Red Blast in hand for this line to fail. Because they kill our Painter, they still have their Painter. And they need another red to welder it away. So they need 2 specific cards. They've already been through 1 Spirit Guide and they've already been through 2 Red Blasts. So they're drawing a card. They got a Spirit Guide and the Red Blast. Alright, they didn't have it. Alright. Sideboarding. I actually think we are quite favoured in this matchup as a general rule, because our other plan is better than theirs as a general rule, because we have like Wastelands and March of Otherworldly Lights and stuff. So we're much better at playing the fair game. So we'll jam this in. Brought out all the Painters but 1. We brought out all the Grindstones but 1. Playing a fair game this time. I like to be able to strip them out. I don't think the Canonist is the way we want to be. Mother of Ruins is still pretty good. Pithing Needle, Retrofitter, Stoneforge Foundry. These all seem pretty fine to me. We need to cut one more thing. What is that going to be? What is that going to be? It's tricky. These things are pretty good for us. I think it has to be one of our 2-drop slots. So we're either looking at a Stoneforge, an Oswald, or a Staff. Oswald is not very good in multiples, so we're going to get rid of the... He obviously was incredible in that game. The Containment Priest is an interesting one, because it can mess with the welder shenanigans if they're welding creatures in. But I think the Grafdigger's Cage does similar things to that. Oh, that's a good game. That's all we have here. We have Sentinel into Fiddlebender with March of Otherworldly Light. This Kaldra is pretty bad. I think we'll keep it on the draw. Right. Pithing Needle. This is going to name Wasteland. That's one of the big cards that we have that they don't. Yeah, there it is. We can March of Otherworldly like that when we want to, but... Right. Let's just bin off their Great Furnace here. This is going to be like the last game where he Pyroblasted me a bunch of times, and now I'm kind of doing a similar thing to them. A Grindstone, sure. With 1 floating. We will play out the Sentinel, play out the Portal Hole, get rid of the Grindstone. Alright, our opponent's found a mountain. So, Fable of the Mirror Breaker is a pretty good draw for them here. Goblin Welder, sure. I'm a fan of Goblin Welder not being alive, as a general rule. So, we did have the option there of playing the Fiddlebender and pitching the other Fiddlebender, but our opponent's a deck that runs Lightning Bolts and Furies. Sure, so now they've got a Saga. So here's a Fury, yeah. This is exactly why I didn't play out the Fiddlebender. Fiddlebender and his mum. Let's see how we go. So we've got to take a hit for 6 now, but we can kind of fog this as time goes on. But we are going to get some Urza Saga beatdown coming our way, I imagine. A lightning bolt on the mum. Sure. Yep, we'll take a hit here. We do need to find something. We can just fog using the Fiddlebender Karakas trick, which unfortunately is what we're looking at doing right now. We could... No, we don't want to attack here. No, I think we have to pass and do Fiddlebender Fog. If they have a Pithing Needle, they can name Karakas, but they probably only have the one Pithing Needle, so... What are they going to find here? Shadow Spear? Or just a Grindstone? Just a Grindstone, sure. Block here. Fog the damage of that, take 4. We're probably dead in the very near future, though. Lorana the third path would be a very nice draw here. So this is going to put a Painter in their graveyard, though. So I think we're probably looking like being done here. But let's see. We got a draw. Staff of the Storyteller. So we play this, we take 4. Yeah, I think we're done there. Let's just go to game 3. The hand did not really work out so well for us there. I think we're fine. I think we maybe should have not hit their Great Furnace. Maybe that was a little bit greedy of me. Should have saved it for Sagas. But the playing out a non-basic with a Pithing Needle on Wasteland on turn 1 is like, oh, they really don't want to have their Wasteland. However, they probably know that I think that way. And made that play specifically because of that. Alright, this hand is great. We've got Stoneforge and Loran and Portable Hole. We've got loads of interaction here. Our opponent's mulligan to 6. So our ideal thing is if our opponent plays turn 1 as a Saga, then we can just March for the Way Light it. Okay, they didn't do that. A Welder, sure. Let's get the Stoneforge Mystic into play. Yes, go get Kaldra. If they play a Pithing Needle on Stoneforge Mystic, we can deal with that. Fail them a breaker, sure, that's fine. Let's put in the Kaldra. Go attacks. Bash. Second main phase, we're going to put the Portable Hole on the Goblin Welder. Goodbye, Welder. They will get a token off of their Shaman, so if they have a Soul Land and they have the combo rolled up, we will lose to it. But if we get to untap next turn, I think we are in a very commanding position. It was quite tempting to play Loran on the Fable of the Third Path there, but I think just getting the Kaldra down and saying you have very few turns to win this game is a good one. There's a Saga. Okay, we got that covered with a March of the Oddly Light. So if they have a Simian Spirit Guide, they can kill us this turn. If they have Simian Spirit Guide, paint a Grindstone. That's quite a specific set of draws, but it's certainly ones that they can have. Breyer's Apprentice. Okay. Attacks. Power Ancient Den here. March of the Oddly Light on the Saga here. What is this? And a Braid on our Portable Hole. Sure. We'll kill this Welder off. Then we'll jam this Mother of Runes, so we have lethal next turn. Our opponent can't tap their Ancient Tomb unless they're killing us with it this turn. We give our guy protection from red. If they tap their Ancient Tomb, we give this guy protection from red, it attacks. The Thopter blocks 1, they take 5 and die. And we also have the Loran just to smash this Kiki-Jiki Reflection as well. A Grindstone, sure. This is just going to be something that the Breyer can sacrifice, I imagine. Sure, we'll take 2. We don't care about Alatil. It's not the axis that this game's being won on, I don't think. Tapping an Ancient Tomb. Swords to Plowshares. That's an interesting one to draw. I'm just wondering if we play the Loran first. If we play the Loran first and hit the Breyers is sacrifice an artifact, so it can sacrifice itself to the end of your next turn. So maybe we're supposed to get rid of the Kiki-Jiki or the Grindstone there. Okay, I think we're not winning this turn. I think we are attacking this turn with the Germ token. That's fine. I don't think our opponent's going to like this very much. We'll smash the Grindstone. We can plough the Reflection if we need to, but I don't think we need to. Our draws have been pretty good this game, I won't lie. But we do have a lot of tools for this matchup. Like March of the Oddly Light is so good in this matchup. Okay, so we have a Painter here. Right, our opponents put the GGs in chat. Alright, so we finished with a 3-2 there. We had a couple of really nice games towards the back end of that league. Yeah, I think we maybe should have been a little bit more disciplined with 1 or 2 of our mulligans, and we did mulligan to Oblivion against the Reanimator deck, but such is life. Let's have a little chat about the deck. So I've been very happy with this build of the deck. I think the only things that have changed, so I was having 3 Esper Sentinel and 1 Skrelv for a while, but Skrelv I don't think is very good in this deck. I don't think Skrelv is a particularly good card, to be honest. But I think especially in this deck where your big threats don't really need help getting through. It's not like you've got, I don't know, like an Ingenious Smith in the other painter build, the other white painter build, which can sometimes struggle to get through board states. Skrelv can help with that. But I think Sentinel is just a better card. And we got 3 Mother Runes, which is nicer as well. Yeah, so since I've moved the Skrelv out for a 4th Esper Sentinel, and I think I cut one of our lands. I think we might have had a second Horizon Canopy that I cut for Plains. I think that was the last alteration I made. Since then, I haven't actually changed anything. I think the deck is running pretty smoothly. If you want, you can address the Reanimator matchup by smashing a load of ley lines into your sideboard. Now, for playing Leagues online, that's not necessarily a bad idea. There's a lot more Reanimator in Leagues than there is in Paper Magic. But I think at a paper tournament, I would much rather have Containment Priest than ley lines, because Sneak and Show is a more prevalent deck in paper than Reanimator is. And also, I think Sneak and Show is just a better deck anyway, so I'm still going to keep playing this build that's tuned towards that meta that maybe it shouldn't be, if you know what I mean. So we probably would want to be on ley lines for playing Leagues, but if we were playing a big event, like a Showcase Challenge type thing or whatever, I would think I would want the Containment Priest over the Reanimator, the anti-Reanimator stuff in ley lines. But other than that, I think the sideboard is mapped out pretty well now. The Staff the Storyteller has been very impressive to me. We saw that game. We had 2 games now where we just showcased how many cards you can draw from it, and it just can absolutely give you everything you need, and I'm pretty happy with that. I haven't really done Horizon Canopy, Crucible of Worlds type stuff, but I think that's okay. I am slightly tempted to cut this Horizon Canopy for a Singleton Ghost Quarter, so that when you assemble the Crucible of Worlds lock, you can fully lock people and remove all of their basics. Maybe that is not what we should be doing, and the white mana from Horizon Canopy is just too important. I'm probably not going to make that change. That's something to think about. Again, we were thinking about the Eiganjo. We definitely had games where we kept it in our hand for a turn just in case we wanted to fire it off on something. So I think it's still fine to have. We haven't really been getting mana screwed at all. I think the big density of planes is excellent here. In terms of sideboard, I don't think I'm going to change anything next time I play this deck, to be honest. I just really like the way the deck's built right now. Feels strong. We're just playing a bunch of good cards, right? I wish there was another good 3 mana artifact that we could play, so that we could cycle up our Staff of Storytellers, perhaps. But I just don't think there's anything that really sort of gels with what we're trying to do. You could play one of the swords, so you can go and go up. So you can trade a Staff of the Storyteller in for a sword, and then equip the sword onto your 1/1 token you got from Staff of the Storyteller. That's something that I might test. I don't think it's necessarily optimal. I think we're pretty close to optimal with this list now. But you got to test these things, right? So I might try out the sword. Quite where I'm going to fit that in, I don't know, because the Retrofitters plus Staff of the Storyteller is something that I don't think we should be abandoning because it's just so strong. Though it does get weaker in post-board games because Meltdown is a thing. But yeah, pretty happy with this deck. And if you're happy with my content and you're still here, why not hit that like button? It really helps me out. And if you could share my content to other places, I don't really go on Reddit. So if you're in any sort of Magic Reddit threads, please put my stuff there. It really helps me out. And if you want to help me out financially, why not drop me a line on Discord and pay me to play whatever deck you want. It can be as miserable as you like, I suppose. That's part of the jam. But yeah, a good evening of Legacy was had. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.